So what's a way to arrange your pictures on a wall? Hi everyone, it's Carol from Discover Interior Design, and I'm so glad you're here. Well, in this video, you're going to learn about symmetrical balance and how to create a symmetrically balanced arrangement for your pictures on a wall. So let's get started. So first thing, let's talk about balance. What is balance? Well, balance is one of the interior design principles. And the interior design principles are these guidelines, these tools for us to use to keep in mind when we are creating a design so that the design, the interior design of our home, looks and feels good, that it functions, and that it also provides a beautiful look. And when we're talking about balance, balance has to do with giving us a sense of equilibrium, because when things are arranged in a certain way and we look at that arrangement of pictures on a wall and everything looks and feels balanced, that helps us feel good. So symmetrical balance is this really nice formal way of arranging or grouping different elements. And so in this video, we're talking about pictures on a wall. And symmetrical balance is when everything is kind of centered on a central area and spaced evenly out throughout that arrangement. And if we were going to draw a line, an imaginary line down the center of a grouping of pictures, for instance, say in this grouping of 3 pictures above this low console table, that we would find there is a mirror image on either side. So an easy way to figure out if something is symmetrically balanced is if you could just draw an imaginary line down the center of it, and whether that's horizontally or vertically. And that will let you know that if there's a mirror image on either side, that means that it's a symmetrically balanced arrangement. And in this example, we can see that that center picture is centered over that table, and those paintings next to it are spaced evenly out from that center painting. And all of those paintings are based on a central point, a central imaginary vertical line, but also they're based on a horizontal line. So everything is lined up. The tops and the bottoms of all those paintings are lined up based on a horizontal line. And the other thing that's happening with that arrangement is that it's within a certain boundary. So we could almost draw a line, a boundary, a frame around that grouping of pictures, and everything is within inside that boundary or that frame. And because of the nature of symmetrically balanced arrangements where everything is kind of centered and spaced evenly, and that there's a mirror image on either side of a center area, that gives us a kind of structured look to an arrangement. It kind of provides a stable look. It helps us to look at that arrangement and everything looks and feels balanced. And for those reasons, that helps us look at that arrangement, and it helps to create a feeling of calmness because everything is organized and arranged in a way that looks and feels stable and structured. And another way to describe a symmetrically balanced arrangement is that it's formal because everything is centered and balanced and very structured. And this is kind of a go-to natural way of arranging things in our home because it does give us a sense of calmness. Think of placing a sofa in your living room. Lots of times we'll place the sofa centered on a wall, and that's another example of a symmetrically balanced arrangement. So let's take a look at some other examples of a symmetrically balanced arrangement of pictures to hopefully give you some ideas and inspiration on how you can arrange your pictures and artwork or anything else on your wall in a symmetrically balanced way. The first example is this nice grouping of pictures in a dining kitchen area. We can see right away that this grouping of pictures is very organized and very structured. Everything is based on an imaginary line down the center of that grouping, and all of those pictures are spaced out from there in an even way. The other thing that's going on is that all of those pictures are the same size. So when we kind of step back and look at that grouping, we can call that grouping kind of a grid-like arrangement. And everything is lined up, and it creates a sense of structure and organization. And because everything is spaced out evenly and lined up all together, that there's this boundary to this entire grouping. And when we look at that grouping, we can say that that entire grouping is the main focal area. Like there isn't one picture that is the center focal area of that arrangement. And the other thing we could say about this arrangement is that there is an equal amount of visual weight everywhere. So visual weight just has to do with how much something grabs our attention. Well, because all of these pictures are the same size and they are arranged in this very formal, symmetrically balanced way, there is an equal amount of visual weight everywhere. And if we were to draw an imaginary line down the center of that arrangement, we would see a mirror image on either side. And we could also draw an imaginary horizontal line, and the same thing would happen. We would see a mirror image on either side. And we can also create a grid-like sort of layout for pictures using different sizes of pictures. So we don't always have to have all of the same sizes. So this is a good example of this grouping above this bench. And there are 4 larger pictures set up in the center and 3 smaller pictures on either side. But there is a sense of structure and stability because everything is based on the center of that wall, everything is based on the center of that bench. And if we were to draw an imaginary line down the center, we could see that there's a mirror image on either side. So if you have a group of pictures in different sizes, this may be a way to go to arrange all those pictures in a symmetrically balanced way. And this is kind of a neat variation of a symmetrically balanced look, but it's kind of offset a little bit. If we look at this picture, we notice that everything is based on a central vertical line, and all of those pictures are spaced out and lined up the same way. But it's almost like one side of that arrangement has been offset and lowered a little bit. So if we were to draw an imaginary line down the center of that arrangement, it wouldn't be a mirror image, but because one side is offset, kind of lowered a little bit. And this is kind of a nice variation compared to that first grid-like arrangement where everything is offset just a little bit, but still lined up and still centered, and still gives us a sense of stability. And then another example, like the one we saw with the 3 pictures over that lower console table, is this example of 3 pictures over a bed. This is another nice example of a symmetrically balanced layout. And this is really successful because all of those different pieces in that bedroom area are relating to one another and working with one another. So that artwork arrangement is centered over the bed and spaced out evenly. And they are placed close enough to the bed so that it relates to the bed. And actually that arrangement, the boundaries of that arrangement kind of go out to the side a little bit and almost look to me like they're centered on the bedside tables and bedside lamps. And there's a sense of structure and stability because everything is based on that center point of the bed and spaced evenly, and everything is lined up. When you're placing pictures in a row, they don't necessarily have to be all the same size. They can be different sizes, and everything is just based on lining up on a certain line. So for example, in this dining room area, these 3 paintings are lined up on a vertical line, and we could see that there would be a mirror image on either side. And then the interesting thing about this arrangement is that the middle picture, the larger picture in the center, is the focal area of this grouping, just because that painting is the largest painting that takes up the most visual weight, and that's the main focal area of this grouping. This entire arrangement is centered on that lower sideboard and on that dining room table. So there's this nice symmetrical balance going on in this entire dining room arrangement. So I'd love to find out from you if you have any questions around arranging pictures in a symmetrically balanced way. And also please share with us if you already have arrangements on your walls placed in a symmetrically balanced way and why you decided to do that. So please share your design ideas and suggestions in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.